upon a time when America was very young, we thought in unity there is strength. Well, then we got a little older and a little surer of ourselves, and we thought in diversity there's survival. Well, recently there's been so much diversity, so many differences of opinion to be specific, that our survival itself has seemed threatened. If this were China, we might have called 1969 the year of the short fuse. So many groups have been mad at so many other groups that it sometimes looks as though people are running on anger the way cars run on gasoline. Things we would have laughed at only a few years ago get us furious these days. And in the confusion, there's a sense that people have lost contact with one another. Whether it's large cities or small towns, democracy doesn't seem to be working the way it once did, if it did. People vote and vote and vote, right or wrong, right or left, and nothing much changes. The ghettos, the war, the taxes, they're all still with us, hanging there like the pollution that just won't blow away. And so there are a lot of short fuses. But then, of course, this isn't China. For the sake of argument, not to mention accuracy, it's East St. Louis, Illinois, across the Mississippi River from St. Louis, Missouri. As a community, East St. Louis has most of the problems most of our other communities have, and then some. On this broadcast, we will examine these problems and look at one way of doing something about them.
CBS News presents the Battle of East St. Louis with Hughes Rudd.
In the old days, when a vice or even a bad habit was driven out of St. Louis, Missouri, it would jump the river and the state line to find a home in East St. Louis, Illinois. Corruption came early to East St. Louis and stayed late. Law enforcement in the town was a trying job even in the 19th century, and often a tempting one. As long ago as 1875, a criminologist declared, "There's a constable in East St. Louis named Tech. He is the ringleader of as mean a set of horse thieves, gamblers, and blacklegs as ever infested any town of early settlement or later growth. The place is infamous." It stayed that way. By 1917, conditions were bad enough to cause one of America's first genuine race riots. East St. Louis was almost 50 years ahead of its time in that respect. The city never put more than Band-Aids on the causes of those riots, and even when blacks achieved a majority in numbers, they had only a minority of power. In 1968, the federal government froze a $54 million road construction contract because the labor unions in East St. Louis were discriminatory. Highways just stopped right where they were. Unemployment, especially among blacks, rose sharply. So did anger. By the spring of 1969, East St. Louis was a riot waiting to start. The ingredients were all present and accounted for. A black ghetto that's overcrowded and underemployed, and a nervous police department that was called ignorant and trigger-happy by many of the very citizens it was supposed to protect. One of the policemen is Tom Hunter. He's been on the force almost 2 years, and he's a textbook police officer. He'd like to become a detective and has solved one murder. Officer Hunter is a family man. He has 5 children. He was brought up in a section of East St. Louis that is now mostly black, but he doesn't live there anymore. As blacks have moved toward the center of town, he's moved farther away. Although he enforces order in a community where whites have become a minority, Tom Hunter remained personally as well as geographically aloof from the majority before last May.
I was born in East St. Louis and I was raised in East St. Louis. I lived in the same house for 16 years. I worry about the safety of my children all the time. Being a policeman, I'm providing security for my family and protecting some of the ideals that I believe in. I feel that I'm a very good father, a good provider for my children.
Dispatch, 28, you got my tow truck on the way to 36th and Regent.
Negative, I'll send it on the way now.
Clear.
I feel strongly about being a police officer. There has to be authority. There is a need for law and order if any society is to survive. I feel sometimes that I make enemies instead of friends in order to do my duty as a police officer. The law must be enforced.
65 Pontiac.
There was numbered 12,000 prostitutes in England, in the London area alone. Children were taught by fences to steal, and this was the beginning of juvenile delinquency. Well, there were many attempts to combat this lawlessness. They organized
Clarice Braddix is a student of communications and any other subject with social content. She lives just a few blocks from where Tom Hunter grew up. As a pillar of the black community, Mrs. Braddix is on more committees than she has time for. Her influence is vital to the police if they are to gain the respect of black people in East St. Louis. Yet, with a rising mood of militancy among black men, black women are no longer wanted or needed as protectors. A traditional comfort has become a contemporary annoyance. Mrs. Braddix herself began to find that out when her son became a militant a couple of years ago. Still, she remained domineering before last May.
Oh, my son is God's most precious gift to me. I love him very dearly. And then I'm a little bossy. I'm a little pushy. When I see men failing to do what they're supposed to do, then I want to get them to do it. But I think this is just a womanly or a motherly instinct. We are protective.
A lot of people think the toughest policeman in East St. Louis is Bill Jeremias. They say he'll defend the force against any attack, and if there's no attack, he'll defend it anyway. Sergeant Jeremias is a veteran of 5 years on the force. He's been charged 3 times with police brutality. Fellow officers admire his muscle. Blacks call him a bully. He's for safe neighborhoods, and what Sergeant Jeremias seems to mean by safety is a curfew that starts at noon. As for what all those black folks downtown are so riled up about, Bill Jeremias couldn't tell you before last May.
Insert. It's 1634.
Some people go to work and do the same thing every day. Me, I go to work, I don't know whether I'm going to go home at the end of the day or not.
There, Corey.
If a man makes advances towards me, I don't give him a second chance to decide what he's going to do. If he's coming towards me, he's going to be laid out on the floor.
Egyptian, where you been? Egyptian, where you been? Down to the city hall, gone again. Down to the city hall, gone again. What you gonna do when you get down? What you gonna do when you get down? Gonna slap Mel Fields right out of his chair. Gonna slap Mel Fields right out of his chair. That's good, man. Got it together. That easy. Okay, like I said before, we're going to go back.
Bill Luckett is the angriest man in East St. Louis, but he thinks he has his reasons. His life is measured not in years, though he has had 24 of them, not in jobs, though he has had 8, not in arrests, though he has had 6, not in children, though he has 2, but by his shortages, which are plentiful. He has not had a decent education. He never had a live-in father. He's not always had enough to eat. He has never had work which met his capacities. He has never lived anywhere that wasn't either a slum or a low-cost project or both. But Bill Luckett is also a leader.
I was born in the ghetto. I was born in the ghetto. My mama was born in the ghetto. My mama was born in the ghetto. My sister was born in a ghetto.
He's vice president of the Black Egyptians, a paramilitary group whose members see themselves as defenders of the black community. Their natural enemies, they say, are the police. Bill Luckett himself has been arrested once by Officer Hunter and once by Sergeant Jeremias. That's the only close contact he ever had with either of them before last May.
During my childhood, my father, he left when I was 2 years old. And my mother, she had to go to work and take care of us. And during Christmas time, other kids in the neighborhood, where they received toys, we had to go out and steal our toys for Christmas. When I was in high school, I played baseball. And when I graduated, I was offered a scholarship to a college. But I had to go out and get a job and help my mother support my brothers and sisters. I'm really seeking something, you know. Like, it's out there, but I can't get it. You have your haves, you have your have-nots. And you have to have someone to protect the haves. You know, that's what policemen come in at.
With a corrupt past, an intolerable present, and a future looking bleak and ominous, East St. Louis's white and black communities moved apart into separate, hostile, armed camps. In late May of 1969, the situation in East St. Louis was desperate. A quickly formed citizens committee decided to try an experiment. 18 citizens, police and civilian, white and black, were persuaded to go to a sensitivity training session. The group included Tom Hunter, Clarice Braddix, Bill Jeremias, and Bill Luckett. Reluctant, skeptical, some even contemptuous, the group agreed to go to a camp 70 miles away from the city. The session was to last 3 days. What was being tested, though the results would be difficult to measure, was the capacity to change in individuals, in a community, and by implication, in a society. That's why CBS News went along to the Battle of East St. Louis.
Imagine how you will feel walking around the room with your eyes closed. Just imagine how you'll feel walking around the room with your eyes closed. See if you can fantasy that for a few minutes.
Sensitivity training is a combination town meeting, group therapy, and parlor game. This session was an attempt to reverse the alienation in East St. Louis, to generate a relationship between people who have only played public roles with one another. The idea literally was to sensitize the town's black community and police department to each other by enforcing closeness for 3 days. The experiment would fail if any of the participants went home before the encounter ended. In order to gain greater intimacy, the session split into 2 small groups. We followed one of these. They met in a cabin and were supervised by 2 trained group leaders. A community psychologist, Al Reynolds, took 3 days off from his teaching position at the University of Chicago to conduct the session. His assistant was Jack Porcher, a former policeman who now works for the Illinois Commission on Human Relations. For the police, there were Tom Buckley, a rookie just joining the force, Alvin Tolden, who was trying to be loyal both to the force and the black community, Tom Hunter, a model policeman who had no idea what he was getting into here, and Bill Jeremias, whom the blacks in East St. Louis called, with no affection, a chunky honky. On the community side were Fred Lambert, an educational guidance counselor, Bill Dye, a former policeman who worked for a privately financed crime commission at the time of the session, Jim Curran, member of a militant group called the Warlords, Clarice Braddix, who had mistrusted the police since her son became a militant, and Bill Luckett, whose bitterness is typical of every street and every ghetto in every city. On the first day of the session, to no one's surprise, Bill Luckett and Sergeant Jeremias found out they didn't much like each other.
What do you mean you showed us? You walked up and down the avenue breaking windows.
This one fella broke one window.
Why?
You know, he got to speak for himself. I can't speak for him. But the main purpose is going out because you harassed Frank.
If I remember right, there was clothes knocked on off the racks onto the floor, onto the ground on the sidewalk.
Right.
I remember right, there was fellows who raked clothes off in their arms and walked down the streets with them, right?
Did the East St. Louis Police Department get any of these clothes when we was arrested?
The clothes were got back down there by the...
Was them the clothes held over evidence? But yet there's still a fellow still charged for theft, and they got the clothes back. And when they arrested this man,
there was an evidence sheet made on him.
Was the clothes there?
Yes, the clothes were in the police station.
Did you catch him with the clothes?
The clothes were on the man's arm. They were taken away from him.
Oh, no, Jeremiah.
I still want to know, what good did it do you?
We was mad, man. We had to blow off the steam somewhere, you know. Because, like I said, you can be pushed for so far. You know, and we knew that the police department had a grudge against us.
Hey, Bill, let me ask you something. How many people did the East St. Louis Police kill last year?
How many have they shot at?
How many have they killed?
I mean, it's not, I mean, really, it's not my fault to understand because you're no kind of marksman, you dig? I mean, but how many have they shot at?
In your organization, do you think that everybody in your organization is law-abiding citizens?
Well, if you're going to put it that way, no. No.
Okay.
Yo, I don't know if you, as long as we up here, I know we gonna be treated right by the policeman. Who
I don't give a damn if you're up here in East St. Louis. You treat me right, you're gonna get treated right. You walk on me, I'm gonna walk on you.
Are you trying to say, you understand, if we treat you right and you catch us out there doing wrong, you give us a break?
No, I am not gonna give you a break. You're doing wrong, you're going to jail.
On the second day, it was a fellow policeman who unwittingly began to soften Jeremias' attitude. Alvin Tolden felt exiled from both the police and the black community, and he said he could get along without either of them. The declaration touched off a spark in Jeremias he hadn't known was there.
Myself, the way I think, you don't need nobody. Depend on everybody. You're it. I mean, you don't depend on nobody, you don't have to depend on nobody. Everybody's got to have somebody, man.
Is that the way you see
everybody's,
it?
Hey, I'm a big man myself.
Is that the way you see it?
But I gotta have somebody to depend on. I mean, I need protection.
Is that the way you see it?
That's the way I see it, yeah. Everybody's gotta have a protector. I don't give a damn who you are, man.
You're in bad shape.
Jack, as big as he is, he needs somebody. Diane needs somebody. Everybody's gotta have somebody, man.
May I say something? Al, here we are, each of us recognizing the fact that we are interdependent. Right here in this room.
Well then...
And you tell us you don't need us?
Say what you want to say. I'm not going to punch you in the nose and you go back to East St. Louis. I'm going to work with you, baby.
The hell with you.
I'm going to work with you, baby. See, come on.
Don't tell me to.
I got some Charles Reds I can
Come on,
send you.
come at me. Come at me. Say what you want to say.
That's not right. You don't destroy him.
Don't sit over there and hem home and say, well, you know, spit it out, man.
I like this, dude.
Man. But I'm going to be honest with you. I think you're a good policeman in a way. This, that, and you deal with people. But I myself, I've been 5 years down there. I could use some more training. I'm not the smartest man in the world, but I would like to have more training. And I think you can go along with me on that. You need a little bit more too. What?
I didn't hear you. I said, you're not lying. You could use some more.
Right. I'm the first to admit it, man. I could use lots more.
Tom Hunter remained an outsider, polite but distant. Yet in the crucible of sensitivity training, the world can close in fast. Self-reliance can build a country, but not a community.
I have to be honest and say I don't really feel a part of this group. I don't have any real hard feelings or real deep feelings for this group. My life isn't here. I mean, you want me to be in this room and be in the feelings of this room, but I just can't place myself in it because this isn't my life. Tomorrow evening, we're going to get on a bus and leave, and it's going to be the end of
Tom,
this.
my way of thinking is, the situation exists now. And though you didn't create it, if you permit it to continue as is and not do what you can do to make it better, then you are guilty.
You've really gone through your world in a vacuum, in a white vacuum. You see, this is all you've ever seen and all you've ever cared for. And, you know, I sympathize with this. I sympathize with the fact that you've been victimized all your life. And I feel sorry. But I really do believe that you are beginning. I mean, you've got a grain of salt, man. You know, just this is all that you got. You know, and this is something. I think that you are trying. You're just beginning to try. Today, maybe, not yesterday. So that's how you come over to me.
Tom's, like Bill said, Tom's set in his ways. And he has his beliefs. And from the way he talks in the room here, they're very, very strong beliefs. And I believe it's going to take a lot to penetrate him and get through to him. But maybe eventually this might happen, maybe not.
I judge Officer Hunter here, you know, as a typical present-day East St. Louis policeman. You know, he sees why he's on his job. That these people that's behind bars, you know, are the typical black man in East St. Louis, you know, troublemaker, you know. That's the way I look at him.
I look at him as being unreal and don't want to understand us. Because as long as we've been going on in this room, if a person really felt that they want to understand us, he'd have been deeper in it, trying to find out something about us. Not just sitting looking and every now and then come in with a question, but he would have been asking us different questions, trying to find out something about the black race of people.
I don't feel like I could stand a good chance if I ran for mayor right now. I feel like I'm too popular. I can't picture myself as not being real. I am real. But I have my ways. And I do have my beliefs. And I just don't believe that I have bad beliefs. That I'm all. I just can't. I can understand, but I could never, like Bill said, never really understand. I couldn't. How can I? I'm not one of you. Man, I mean, don't ask me to. Ask me to understand your problems. Ask me to try to work with you. I can do these things. I can contribute myself from what I feel and the way that I do things. But I can't do it from your viewpoint. I have to do it from mine. So I just can't be what Jack is, what Bill is, what Will is, what you are, Carice, Fred, Al. I can't even be what Bill is or Tom. I'm not them. I'm me.
Yeah, you know, I believe today, it's the first time I've heard him, I mean, really express a feeling. I mean, when he, after everybody got finished talking, and this man, he might not agree with me, but he felt hurt. I mean, he felt hurt because he couldn't spit out them words. And I think today's the first time somebody got to him.
Did you feel
In a sense, I felt that, like I said, I didn't feel popular. I felt like I was, although I'm not part of this group, I'm not part of any group, but I got the feeling, man, these people don't even like me. That's a hell of a feeling.
The Battle of East St. Louis continues.
Before the sensitivity session, Bill Luckett and Bill Jeremias, enemies and opposites, lived in the same city but different worlds. Money and property mean a lot to Bill Luckett, but he doesn't have what he wants. He wanted to get into the system, and he did get in, sort of. He works for the Mobil Oil Corporation as a maintenance man. The more he sees of it, the more Luckett wants to change the system by any means necessary. To Bill Luckett, Bill Jeremias is what has to be changed. To Bill Jeremias, Bill Luckett is the change he is supposed to prevent. Money and property don't mean too much to Jeremias, but he has what he needs. He likes what he has. His job is to preserve what is, to defend things as they are. He keeps the peace by any means necessary. As the crisis built last May, Jeremias and Luckett each played his part in the drama of civic disintegration. But then, suddenly, for a few moments, they switched parts.
This school better not open tomorrow without having some more black teachers.
That's well impossible. The budget will not call for it.
You get rid of 4 of them old white ladies you got up there that's 90 years old. We want somebody to teach that knows what's going on today.
Oh, you black folks don't know what you want.
You cannot vote.
Sensitivity training is supposed to allow people to be themselves. But in one unique feature called role-playing, the objective is to be somebody else. The issue here was whether a hypothetical local school should hire more black teachers.
I lay down in front of your door.
Well, go and do it. Do it that way.
I'll tell you what, if you lay down in front of my door, it'll be the last door you lay down in front of.
We want more black teachers in this school, man.
Well, look here. Okay, cool down.
Either you bring more black teachers in this school,
wait a minute.
or else.
You want me to call the police on you, boy?
You bring more black teachers in this school.
Wait a minute, boy.
Hey, wait a minute, he ain't no boy.
Hey, man, what you doing calling me a boy?
I'm sorry then, mister.
But we gonna have more black teachers in this school.
And I say you're not, or you won't have me here. And if you lose me, then you lose the support of this entire white community.
And your school can be burnt down.
Hey, man, not yet.
Are you threatening us, boy? Are you threatening the school?
Wait a minute.
Yeah, are you?
I said it can be burnt down.
Militants come in here and try to change our mind for us. Now, just keep up, we're gonna call the police.
You got room for at least 4 teachers that we know of.
Okay.
If you do this, then there might be some trouble. See, because the teachers...
There's gonna be trouble if you don't do it.
Yeah.
Boy, who's talking to you?
I'm
talking to the superintendent. I'm not talking to you.
I bet you this school better not open tomorrow then.
I wish you boys would stay in y'all place and stay out of our school trying to run it.
This school better not open tomorrow.
Take your mask and sit right where you are and put your mask in front of you.
Role-playing is a game that forces the players to wear each other's uniforms. If there was a surprise here, it was in how quickly each side adjusted to the change and to the mood that goes with the color.
I had to play a strategy against him. I felt that I just couldn't, win by what my 2 friends were trying to do. I just had to play them out, I felt it. I really felt that this was the moderate here. Yes, but I felt that this is the man that had the power, and that's the man I'm going to have to deal with. And eventually, if I get anything, it's going to be through him.
I felt that we weren't going to get no place, actually.
You kind of felt frustrated with him.
Yes, I did. I didn't know where to go, what to say, really. Every time I started to say something, he'd come on strong, you know it. And it was kind of hanging. I didn't have the answers. I couldn't come back at him, see.
Like this cat, he was going to stand, he was going to be steady. So I got the power to tell him, no, what you're saying ain't worth a damn. So I said, no, we're not going to do it, And this is just it.
You felt the power.
Yeah.
How did you feel, Jim? Did you feel power by being kind of like able to say no? Yeah, so did you feel frustrated? What did you feel?
Yeah, well, I feel good till the other side.
I became a little afraid of, the way he was tossing those threats around directly at me, saying that I know where you live at, and we can do this and we can do that, I thought he was coming directly at me,
Did you feel any power in your position?
Yes, I did.
How did it feel? What?
Felt good.
Felt good?
Real good.
Put it back on there. What about you, Jeremiah? How did you feel in relating to Bill Luckett? How did you feel? Just what did you feel when you were talking to him?
No, actually, I don't think I can explain it. But
you didn't find yourself having any real feelings in that?
Well, I mean,
reaction to it.
I might have had a feeling, and if I had really been a black racist, the difficulties they would go through to get what they want, I probably would have burned his house down.
After the exchange of roles, members of the group were much closer to each other. Opposites felt joined. A basis for change was emerging.
Before all this took place, I had a strong hate in my heart, for Officer Jeremiah, Not because of, really, I didn't know him as a man, I knew him because he had the blue uniform on what he stood for. But we've talked, I've seen him express, certain feelings. And I really dug it, I really did, because it's coming from a white policeman, so-called head crackers, I feel now that, I know Jeremiah, I hope that, I hope that he doesn't disappoint me, but I believe that Jeremiah, is a great person, he's a hell of a white policeman, man, Real nice, Like I say, I hope that this doesn't change. I hope he don't change my mind, when I think about it right now,
Whatever my thoughts about you were before I came, I know they've been changed. I believe you'll go back and in your own way try and help as much as you can to really ease some of the tension there. And I think you'll try and pass it on.
I guess Jeremias is a good police officer, as good as he can be in his way. But I'm still a little bit suspicious of having to, like Jack said, work with you. Because I still believe at one time or the other, you will at one time or the other, when you walk out of this room, confront a situation. I know this for a fact, that you will confront a situation. A situation will confront you. And you're going to do the wrong thing. It's going to be, and black people will be involved. I just believe this. And I wouldn't want to be there when it happens. After complimenting you here.
I have to agree with Bill Nye there. So, actually right now, like he said, there'll be a situation comes up involving something, and actually really, you actually don't know exactly what you'll do when this situation will come up. But when it does come up, I mean, I'll handle it to the best of my ability, and also try to handle it the way that I think it should be handled.
Where I have a choice, I'm damn selective who I give my life to play with. But, you know, like I trust him there. I really would. And I think he's a pro in that.
I would too, yeah. And my reaction, my feeling about him is good.
Yeah.
You know, when I look at him, I get a good feeling.
No, can I say something? Honestly, I just actually to hear you two guys say that you would trust me with your lives. That broke out in goose pimples, man. Man, they're there. It makes me feel good. I mean, real good, down deep inside.
Clarice Braddock's feeling better toward the police was still unwilling to talk about her own protective attitude toward black men. Members of the group felt she tended to smother the self-confidence black men are now asserting.
And she's constantly playing this role of mother. You know, like one of the guys might have a piece of nap on his shirt, you know, and she walks up and graciously takes it off.
And you're being, you know, like you are, you know, you know, you're letting us off the hook. You know, you're allowing us the opportunity to be dishonest. And I'm saying that, you know, as especially young black men, not me, of course, because I'm from your generation, but these guys, I say we got to keep them honest if they're ever going to become old black men.
I do want them to be able to get to be old black men.
But, you know, I think that dishonesty takes some of the anger out of our men. And black man without any anger is not a black man. Then he's just a colored man, just a shell.
But what my feelings are, I have a very definite need for my black men.
And yeah, but let them be men is what I'm saying. You're castrating them with kindness. But don't castrate them with kindness. Tell them the truth. Allow them to be truthful, Clarice.
But I want them to be realists too.
But they can't be realists when you castrate them. What you're doing is
That's the way she sees herself.
Yeah, that's why I stopped.
I cried, I think, because I felt what they were saying to me was true. I guess the reason it hurt was because it's true. And maybe I felt a little ashamed and guilty for being this way, because this is not what I intended. If I am trying to treat men like little boys, then this is bad.
No, you cry. No, you cry because you got slapped, you know.
No, I get this every day.
Yeah, but you're not doing it again,
I'm making a real rebel out of my son, you know.
Hey, so make a rebel out of him. You want him to walk around feeling that, you know, everything is all right? That everybody's foot's supposed to be on his neck?
Not that I want him to do it. We don't need any more martyrs.
I'm not talking about martyrdom. I'm talking about living.
That's what I'm talking about.
Then let me live for 10 minutes as a man, than 50 years as a boy.
Don't you look at me either.
How you doing?
Fine. Ain't big as you are. Brother, why'd you let him do that to me? Talking to you.
On the third and last day, participants got ready to go back to their lives in East St. Louis. Tension from outside the room again was felt inside. Members of the group argued about the past while they worried about the future.
Tom, we're not asking you not to use force if it's absolutely necessary. Do your job, but don't do any more than your job.
No, it's the way you arrest a person, you dig it?
Yeah.
A month before the session, Bill Luckett had been arrested by Tom Hunter for trying to incite a riot.
There was something wrong.
Now you arrested me.
There was two other fellows with you. I didn't have any hard feelings towards any of you, but there was two other fellows with you too. Now, what was their reaction? Tell me.
When you put us in the car, we was handcuffed, you understand? And this black policeman told you to put your gun on us. And you turn around with your 38 and put it back in our face, right?
Did I?
Yes, you did.
Tell it all now.
Yes, you did. Now, he told you to do this. Now,
what did I do?
You looked at him funny. I know this. You looked at him, like, what for, And he said, do it, like that. And you did and held it on us.
No, I didn't put it in your face. I put it up there.
Every time you turn around with a gun, and we sit in the back seat.
I guess if it was me back there, if that gun would have been pointed the other way, as long as it was out there, it'd been in my face, because I don't like to be around somebody with a drum.
It was in our face, and that's what made them really mad, man.
I didn't point it in directly into your face.
Like, let's face it, what we went through over there talking about police agency and black community, that's a history. So when you turn around with that gun, it could be 10 miles away from his face. But the history says it's right up under your nose.
They don't take any history.
Right. And it doesn't take that much for something to happen for it to go off. I understand if an officer has his gun in his hand, just in his hand, that to that officer, he doesn't perceive it as really threatening to Bill. It's just the preparation of being prepared. But if you got that gun in your hand and by your side, you might as well have it in his face. When I say that, that's the way he's experiencing it. Do you understand?
When we was in this thing downtown, and I was arrested, you dig it? Resisting arrest. Just was saying, man, what am I down there for, resisting arrest, And right there, you understand, the same night, a policeman reached for his gun, you understand, on my wife, you dig it? Like my wife got an argument with the dude, she was down there, and the policeman went for his gun, That's right, he went for his gun, and looked up. But boy, if you'd have pulled it off. Shit, been hell in East St. Louis,
I'm just sitting here thinking, and when we leave this room, we've got one hell of a job on our hands back in East St. Louis. I mean, one hell of a job.
And there's not one of us in here, not one of us, that can do that job alone.
And when we go back, of course, it's going to be damn hard to make people understand how you feel. But hopefully we can do this enough times that we can broaden the base to 200, 300, 400, 500 people who are willing to talk. And I maintain if you get 500 people that are willing to talk in any large community, you've got something going for you.
When you chalk it up on a board, these 3 days can't equal 40 years or 20 years or even 3 months. But we found a realness in here that many of us hadn't known before. What we've got to do now is bring this realness to our lives outside. We've got to somehow make this inner room affect that outer room. I think in here, at least we've gotten to be human beings enough to be able to say we. And I hope that, this is always in the back of our minds when we make decisions out there. Whether it's as a police officer or as a black brother or whoever it happens to be, I hope it has some effect. If it doesn't, then we really blown it. If it does, and if we can, affect other people out there, to some extent it's helped. We'll see.
6 months later, 6 months after the sensitivity training session, East St. Louis still does not look like the Emerald City of Oz. No objective problem that existed last May has disappeared. The $54 million highway contract is still frozen, and the construction unions have scarcely budged. Even subjectively, results of sensitivity training are hard to evaluate. But when we returned to East St. Louis this fall, we heard some statements that measure the distance between May and December in more than months.
At this session we had, I got to know the people down there. But I mean, they were right in what they were saying. They've got a problem, I've got a problem. We just have to work together to work this out. The days of punching people in the nose for doing something wrong, them days are over.
I believe that Luckett and I learned a lot about each other at the session. I mean, like I learned about Luckett wanting things for the black people, not just for himself.
I think the training session made us all a little bit more humane. I think it made us at least have the willingness to try and understand others. At least it makes me think now when I become overbearing with my being motherly. I think about it, but I can't say in truth that I've stopped.
I think since this session that I'd lost all this fear of, that I had in the past. I think that one of the basic reasons that white people fear Negroes is because they really don't know them. I think I would have to be honest in saying that sometimes even now I have feelings that, I say, well, he's doing this just because he's a Negro, but I don't carry this feeling. I mean, I seem to lose and overcome it and see how foolish it is to feel this way.
Those 3 days sort of helped me out a little bit, because I saw something that has never been did before. When I first went to the session, I looked upon Jeremias as a racist, pig policeman. But since the session, when I see Jeremias, he approached me as an individual, a white man to a black man. I believe I can change a lot of people's mind about how they feel about policemen, and also change policemen's mind about how they feel about the people in the neighborhood.
Okay. Right, baby, it's gonna be that.
Since May, East St. Louis has opened 3 storefronts where police and citizens can talk over problems. Militants report less police harassment, and police report fewer racial incidents. There have been 2 more sensitivity sessions, and others are planned. Both crime and unemployment are down a little, but no one claims this is due to any 3-day experiments. Despite some real gains in police-community relations, the obstacles to long-term progress remain about what they were. Clearly, it will take a good deal more than sensitivity to solve the hard problems of East St. Louis.
Okay.
But something happened in this room that doesn't seem ready to reverse itself just because of obstacles. Radicals say that sensitivity training can defuse the militancy necessary for change. Yet in East St. Louis, the session has helped to bring about change. Conservatives say that sensitivity training can make policemen go soft in the head and get the idea that the system they're protecting has a lot of faults. Well, the chances are it's not that effective. What the policemen from East St. Louis do feel now is that the system they're protecting is good enough so that it ought to open up and let some more people in. The sensitivity session let the blacks see policemen as individuals instead of Sherman tanks in uniform, and it let the policemen see that they would be better off with the respect rather than the fear of the community. East St. Louis, though backward in some ways, is a preview of what many cities in America will shortly confront, a black majority. There are no dramatic solutions to sudden population or power shifts. Things could still fall apart in East St. Louis, just like anywhere else. Which way the city goes is up to a lot of other people besides Bill Jeremias, Clarice Braddix, Tom Hunter, and Bill Luckett. But some crucial changes took place in here, and several people, half a year later, appear to feel that they've turned a few small corners in their lives. In this room, at least a portion of one community looked itself squarely in the eye and found, to its surprise, that the mirror didn't crack. That's why it's so hard to tell who lost the Battle of East St. Louis. This is Hughes Rudd for CBS News.
Well, I think you were pretty good, sense. I think you were having sex.
I had a mother. She came from the same style. You all right?
You all right?
We gotta go same way. Yeah, but it's gotta go back where we left it.
I know, throughout the land, but I never did know you in person.
Al?
Yeah, I got a couple programs. Talk to you guys about. I don't know if you entertain the job.
Because I gave, you had to put my rod in.
Yeah,
I had that.
And it's up to cats like you.